Okay, so I have the tourniquet on. I'm not laying down because it's too early and I would perhaps fall asleep.
We have bad news.
What's that?
I have to turn off the light.
Hang
on, I'm going to
really,
turn on this
okay,
other
so
light.
Kelly is actually turning the light off so she can see what's going on. And
I'm going to turn on the back light.
she has got the tourniquet attached to my arm. My fingers are turning blue appropriately, which you can't quite see. But hopefully you'll be able to see what happens with the study. So that's my arm. Ordinarily a patient would be laying down.
Beautiful, right there.
So she has already applied the ultrasound wand, and she has found the vein already.
So that's the cephalic vein.
Gotcha. And so you just basically went midline on my bicep, and there it was.
And there it was. It's
Okay,
very,
so is that the most difficult thing, is knowing?
Sometimes if it's very small, you search around a little bit for it.
Okay.
But you know basically where it's going to be, so you just search back and forth.
Okay, so on the screen you've located the vein. Here's
And
the position on my arm. It's pretty much midline on my right bicep,
yeah.
and you found the vein. And so I suspect now what you're going to do is run the Doppler to see if I've got decent flow in the vein.
Well, actually, all I'm going to do for this part is I'm just going to measure.
Oh, okay. Well, that's right. Never mind. It's the vein, not the artery.
Yeah. So I'm just going to measure across, and then to the top. And that's the full measurement we do
Okay.
on the arm. So I would take that picture. Just squeeze it a little bit. Sorry, I'm going to gel you up real good here. So I follow it down the arm, and I'm going to measure it again.
Okay, so just running the wand straight down the front of my arm.
Yep. And we do the same measurement I did before. And this is basically the same, this part of the measurement is the same that they would do for
So what's that massive hole in my arm?
I've got all kinds of things going on here. That is your vein.
No.
That is the cephalic vein.
I knew that. Is that a defect, or is that the way
Yeah,
everybody's
right.
built? Okay.
Let me take that picture.
Right?
And I'm following it all the way down.
Oh, that's warm.
And there's in your forearm, yeah. In the morning it is. And there it is in the forearm. Let me take one in the forearm as well.
Okay, so it strikes me that the most difficult thing here, since, you know, I'm not an ultrasonographer, is just knowing where to put.
Where to find them. And measuring as if you were measuring a cyst.
Okay, so.
And they check for DVT down there. And we also do a compression from time to time, not like a DVT study, but make sure that the vein is open.
Okay.
It's usually pretty obvious. And we follow it all the way down to the wrist.
All right,
So the last measurement we make is usually what they call the snuff box, which is on the hand. And there it is.
So how many actual captures for the vein are you talking about doing?
2, 4, 5, or 6.
Okay,
On
so
that vein.
some numbers.
Let me turn off the.
But,
don't need that.
So from the start of the measurement and finding the vein to the end of it, if you just do 2, 4, 6, whatever it is, how many minutes are we talking about start to finish?
For
the vein measurement.
Okay, for the entire exam, I mean, for just the vein measurement, 5 minutes,
Okay.
maybe,
Okay.
per arm.
Okay.
With arteries and setting the patient up and doing all that, we're given a 30-minute slot.
Okay. So
which we rarely use. I mean, it's not considered one of our exams that we worry about getting back to back, or that we push. It's a pretty simple.
All right, we didn't actually see the Doppler, but you're just finding the artery and
I can do that.
measuring flow, which
and that's even less work, so to speak, than the vein mapping, the actual mapping, because all we're doing is finding the artery and listening to it. Just gotta find your artery here. There we go. Okay.
and flow measurement is something that ultrasonographers in the hospital do regularly.
Oh, yes.
Because I know that they were, I was in the hospital for what turned out to be pericarditis, and they were doing measurements around flow for me. So this is just standard
Yeah.
ultrasonographer practice. The only real difference, at least, is
And that's all we get.
that's it.
We
Okay.
just show them what the waveform looks like. I mean, I might have done it better if you were laying down and the doctor and everything.
Gotcha.
But
So it-
basically, I don't need to measure the velocity. I don't need to do a correct angle or any of the other vascular things we normally do. All I need to do is show them a waveform.
show them the waveform for the artery. That's it. And so that
Which would be very much the same with what they do for a DVT study. They always listen to the sound of the vein as well.
okay. So let me summarize just to see if I understand it then. You're just finding the vein in the arm, following it down from the upper to the lower
Right.
arm, upper arm, lower arm, doing some number of measurements, up to 6, just diameter measurements,
Right.
and then you're doing a waveform study on the artery, and you do that bilaterally, and that's it?
Yes.
Okay.
I do bilateral. And there's, 3 different arteries we look at,
Okay.
and 2 veins.
Okay.
But I mean, the entire thing doesn't take more than 20 minutes with both arms.
All right, and I mean, you've been doing this for a while, Kelly.
Yeah, I have.
Even for a new ultrasonographer, what would you rate this in terms of difficulty? This procedure on a 1 to 10, 10 being your most difficult study to perform, 1 being the easiest for.
I would put this rate down to 1, and the reason I would do that is because somebody just coming out of school, this doesn't require a whole lot of experience. You don't have to have seen many tumors or livers. You know how over time you get experiences to seeing things. This is simply measurement.
Okay.
This doesn't really take any experience. It doesn't take any diagnostic ability. You just measure, and you don't have to assess it. You don't have to make the decision whether it's good to use or not good to use.
Okay.
You just give them a measurement, and they do all the deciding.
It's basically a scavenger hunt for the vein in the artery and,
Yeah.
and measurement. All right, last question. Anything different about how these studies are resulted? It's just pretty much, upload them into
Yes.
PACS?
This goes strictly over to PACS. We fill out a form that gets scanned into PACS.
Okay.
So that those numbers are there, although they're still on the film as well. Or, on
That
images.
sounds as painful as the procedure is. Okay.
And the results are not assessed in the sense that they are, there's no interpretation. It's strictly that this exam was done.
And you had good
And
flow,
it's ready for.
and the diameter's good, right?
And we don't even say that.
No, I mean, you guys don't say, but that's all the doctors doing. with it,
Right, the
correct?
doctors look at it
Okay.
and go, that's the right size, or no, that's too small.
Okay. Well, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything you would add?
No, I think it's an extremely simple study.
All right. Thanks for your help.
That.
Bye-bye.